welcome to another week of Confidence Conversations with Dorothy-Inez. And today I have my special guest, Miss Sharell Weeams, coming all the way from Texas. You're in the Dallas area, correct?
Yep, Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Your Southern accent,
I know.
girl.
Land of the big hair and the humidity. That's why we have big hair now.
Girl, I got the big hair.
Well, you were in Dallas for a little while, right?
No, my family lives in Dallas. I used to live in Austin, so I know big things come out of Texas, girl.
Yeah, exactly.
So welcome. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, put a comment down there and let me know that you're tuning in for the first time. And let me know where you are tuning in from so Sharell and I know where our crew is at today. My name is Dorothy-Inez, and I am passionate about liberating women who are God-centered from struggling with negative self-doubt that keeps them from stepping into their most powerful self in their life and in their business. I'm here to help you get rid of any negative thinking that is holding you back from your next big, brave, bold move. And then we have my guest, Miss Sharell Weeams. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Hey, April, welcome. She's tuning in from Massachusetts. I don't know if you can see that, Sharell.
Hey, April.
So Sharell is a marketing and sales strategist passionate about teaching service-based business owners the practical steps of building brand credibility, creating and positioning offers that convert, and using discovery calls to sell with ease. How many of us could use that? So with nearly 15 years of in-the-field marketing and business development experience, including 6 years as a business owner, Sharell has helped her clients generate more than, are you ready for this, everyone? Generate more than $100 million in revenue. Woo, yes, that's big, Sharell. So welcome, Sharell. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you, sister.
Yes, yes. And so today we're going to talk about confidence. And the whole reason I put together this series of interviews is because there's so much, let me see, how would I say? For some reason, the word stipulation is in my mind. What's the word I'm looking for? There's this, what's the word, Sharell? Help me out. What's the word?
I know what you're trying to say. I was like, it was like a negative. The stigma.
Stigma. Yeah. Thank you. There's this stigma. Why can't I think of that? You know, there's this stigma around saying that you're struggling with confidence, especially if you're successful or you're a leader in business, because you know what, girl, you're a leader, you're a business owner, you're successful. What's the struggle with confidence all about, right? And so I'm here because I wanted to share for myself, even though I have a certain level of success and I teach this stuff, I have moments of self-doubt. I have moments where old patterns of thinking want to come in and try to sabotage what I am being called to, especially as I up level, because as many of you that have followed me have heard me say, as you up level, you encounter a new confidence devil, that thing that's coming in to stop you from being that next version of who you are being called to be. So today, my guest Sharell and I, we're going to talk about how Sharell has even struggled as she's grown, as she was helping people make $100 million in revenues. What were some of the areas she struggled in? And then we're going to talk about how confidence is impacting your sales and marketing efforts. So I hope you'll stay tuned with us. You won't log off. And if you do have to log off, come back and watch the replay. So, Sharell, let's just jump right in, girl.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. tell us, first of all, how did you get started in this, down this path of entrepreneurship, and specifically where you have your passion in sales and marketing? Tell us about, give us a little bit about your background.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm one of those rare breeds, career-long marketer. When I started school, I always knew I needed to do something in the creative realm, So I think I started, fashion design, and then I realized I didn't really like to draw. I just like to make the clothes, So I was like, that's not going to work. And then somehow I stumbled upon marketing. So, I got my bachelor's and my master's both in marketing. And first job out of college was working for an advertising agency doing internet marketing before internet marketing was internet marketing,
Got it.
I did something, at the time we just called it like pay-per-click, like on Google, but now that's known as like Google AdWords. But back then, literally it was like one of the first people doing it. And then I'd say I kind of got scared just because, I think the whole like confidence and self-doubt thing, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this thing that no one else, when I introduced myself, no one had heard of pay-per-click ads at the time. And I'm like, this is going to be gone in a year. So I got to find something else to do. So I left that job, like forehead slap, right? Because now it's like, oh my gosh. But so I left that job to go work for an engineering firm doing marketing, just getting a broader marketing experience, website copy, website, wireframing, marketing collateral, proposal writing, winning large government contracts. So really broad marketing experience. And then fast forward to about 2013 is when I went out on my own. Decided to start my business. And again, just doing basically what I had done as an employee. I did as an entrepreneur. And around 2017, about 4 years later, is when I started to transition my business online. So that's kind of like the evolution of my career and in my business to where it is now. And to answer the question about why I'm so passionate about, the sales and marketing side, it's something that I love helping other people build businesses, like when I talk about in the beginning about how I started, like, in fashion design, it was really what it was is that I like to build and construct things. And for me, I get to use what I kind of call creative, like I get to use creative expression as a vessel to help other people bring their visions to life, and it just lights me up. I mean, this is what I love to do.
I see you're all energized about it.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing is that when we're energized about what we do, we bring that to our work, and that helps us to really show up with excellence. And even that energy, I feel like it also brings a level of confident energy.
Sure.
We know that what we do is making a difference, and that alone helps us to have confidence. So I want to ask you, Sharell, as you were, first I want to go back is to have the confidence to leave your corporate job, because I'm sure for what you were doing, you were getting paid.
Yeah.
Step on your own, because I know some of my followers are women who, like April right now, who is watching, who's tuning in, is looking at leaving her corporate position. She does similar work. She's I believe she's a marketing person, right, and transitioning into entrepreneurship. So can you talk about what were some of the challenges, internally you had going on that could have kept you from stepping out?
Sure, absolutely. Because you're right. I was a director for, an organization, a marketing and public involvement director for, working on some big projects like the city of Dallas Left Field Airport, so I was doing pretty well. And so, yeah, you have struggles, just wondering, if I take this leap of faith, if I actually pursue this passion of going out on my own, what is that going to mean from a financial stability standpoint? Do I have what it really takes to go out there and get that steady stream of work, to make sure that the income is matched to where it was before? And of course, I have some kind of, some things that I put in place to help with that. I don't know if you want me to go ahead and
Yeah,
dive into that. Okay.
because I was sharing with her, I did a video in my private group about things I thought of when I was transitioning. So I'd love to hear what you thought of as you were transitioning out. And how did you work through, do I have what it takes?
Sure. Okay. So I think the first thing I would say is, in just on this whole topic of confidence, one thing I was really, really confident about, and I stay confident about today, I'm like, no matter how bad, because business, we have, it's the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows, right? One thing I am really, really confident about is my ability to find a job, So I'm like, so that's what I told myself, like whenever I was, kind of like, should I give up this, health insurance and, biweekly paychecks, to really go out on this effort? I told myself, okay, I really kind of look within. I was like, okay, if worst case scenario happens and I'm not able to get the clients as I anticipate, I know how to find a job. Like I make trying to find a job it's a full-time job itself, right?
Right.
I was like, so with that mentality, I was like, I can't fail because I can go back and find a job, right?
Right.
So that's one thing I would just kind of say to think about for people who are in that position of thinking about taking that leap. If you're, think of what your plan B and what your plan C is if this doesn't work, right? But then on the flip side, another piece of advice that I would give is to I wouldn't just take that leap cold. I wouldn't just say, I'm ready to go out and start my business. All right, I'm quitting my job. Let me do this. The way that the process worked for me was I had a client who would send me one-off projects. And, they had actually propositioned me, or, they came up to me and asked me to, if I wanted to come and work for them as an employee. And I was just like, no, because I knew that I was interested in going out on my own. Right. And I was like, would you be interested in outsourcing the work to me under my own company name? They had never done anything like that before. So that was a series of conversation. And it was kind of like, well, let's kind of, dip our toe in and send me one project here, one project here. And then about 4 months later they were like, you know what, this is working out perfectly. We want to outsource our entire, marketing department to you under your company name. Take it. That's when I said, okay, let me, check the deuces to my job, like it's time to go. So I guess on that side, I would say I wouldn't just do it cold. I would make it a steady transition to where, your business is at least generating enough to pay your bills, even if it doesn't equal your full-time income, because sometimes you do have to take that full leap in order for it to truly, go up, but at least maybe make it a transition to where you're getting it, close as even as possible before you take that leap. So that's what that looked like for me.
Great advice. I hope that gives you some things, April, to think about as you make your transition. So thank you for sharing that. And then, so one piece you missed is tell us how you got through, that doubt that came in and said, do I have what it takes?
Sure.
Because so many of us, struggle with that. I remember asking myself that, do I have, what it takes to be successful in business? Because you're going to constantly, as you're in business, and as you know, there's that question constantly comes.
Sure.
So I'm curious, how do you deal with that when those voices come back in, Sharell, and say, oh, you don't have what it, you don't have what it takes. You don't know enough, Sharell, to go to that next level, or you don't have the courage you need to do it. What do you do in those times of self-doubt?
Sure. Great question. I'm a big believer in seeking counsel, and that can come in many different forms, right? That can be, just a trusted confidant, a mentor, an advisor, a coach. And especially when it comes to like my business, working, coaches, and especially like even mindset coaches, being able to break through those things. But I always say like seek counsel. And I'm the type of person who I'm like, let me talk through this with someone, because sometimes we get in our own heads, and we fill our heads with so much things that causes the fear and causes the self-doubt and causes the overwhelm, when you just need an objective opinion from someone else to help talk you through that, right? So that's one thing that I do. And like when I first started, I know that I had 100 conversations because that's just my personality with any business owner that I knew, like my boyfriend, he's been in business, oh my God, way too long, 12 years or way longer than that probably now. A lot of people in my community, thank God, I saw them and they were owning their businesses. And so I'd call them, okay, tell me the good, the bad, the ugly, what is it that I really need to think about? What is it that I need to be prepared for? And ask questions like that. And at that time when I took that leap, I wasn't working with coaches. Oh, but I wish I had, oh, but I wish I had. Oh, if I wish I knew the things that I knew now. Right. But yeah, so for me, it's seeking counsel and then also, calling to God, like, Lord, what is the right decision? Just, really praying and sending those prayers and asking for those answers, for God to show me, what is the right decision, which is the best decision to go. But I'm a talker, so I have to talk through it with someone. So whether it be God or somebody in person.
Right. I was just thinking to myself, I said, now Sharell is the fastest talking Texan I have ever met. Okay. Most Texans, they're like real slow
draw.
Yeah, because people used to tell me when I first came from Austin, they'd be like, Dorothy-Inez, you talk so slow, and then you have that Southern draw. And I'm like, I don't have a Southern draw. Yes, you do. And then, and then I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm like, Sharell, like she's from East Coast.
People tell me that all the time. And 70% of my clients come from the East Coast. I think I was born in the wrong place.
Girl.
Yeah, I was born in the wrong place, I guess.
Welcome, Patrice. We see your comments. Patrice says she's a talker too.
Hey, Patrice.
So what we've got so far from our great guest here is Sharell says she first seeks support or counsel when she's dealing with these negative thoughts, whether that's through a friend, a coach. She gets counselors. She gets the input of others who are doing what she's aspiring to do. So that way, that's helping to build up that courage, that confidence, finding out what obstacles she may encounter so she can prepare. And then number 3, you guys know this one's a close one to my heart, is that she seeks counsel from God, because I believe that is the best place to go. If you go within, we always have the answers within. So good, really good advice. So Sharell, tell us, from when you're working with clients, particularly your entrepreneurial women, what kind of confidence issues do you see coming up that impact their sales and marketing efforts, and how do you recommend they overcome them?
Great question. So I feel like a lot of things that, from a confidence standpoint, that my clients deal with, and it's especially since I work with, my clients kind of vary in range, but especially those newer in business or those who have been in business for a while, but they're pivoting, pivoting online. It's around this whole idea of imposter syndrome. And I see this a lot, and I even struggled with this myself. So because a lot of clients, they're taking whatever they've done, maybe in their full-time job, or maybe they've done it offline. And then when they're trying to create their own business, for whatever reason, people feel like they have to throw, everything that they've done before, this next step, out of the window. And all of a sudden it's like, it doesn't count anymore. It's not valid anymore. Right. And so I really have to work with them to help them understand, how what they did before in this different delivery model translate over to what they're going to be doing now. Right. And then, so aside from imposter syndrome, some of the other things that I really feel like cause a confidence issue are, I have like this formula where I say, like, certainty plus congruency equals confidence, right? And a lot of people, they have a lack of confidence, mainly because maybe they're not 100% certain that the results that they're promising, that they're going to get their clients, are the results that they can actually get. And so I always say, like, if you're struggling anywhere, because most people, I mean, we're one of my characteristics that I work with are women of integrity, right? People who, say, they do what they say, whatever they're promising, they can really, they can achieve. So we're not out here trying to scam people, right?
Right.
And so if something is off in what you're promising to deliver for people in your head, it has to be fixed because you won't be able to sell as well. Like, you're going to be having
that energetic match.
Exactly. So what you have to do is you have to go in and make sure, like, I always advise, and because I struggle with this myself, I always advise my clients, do some sort of like a beta run. That kind of helps with that. Like, if you're trying something new or pivoting, instead of going out there and like, I'm going to charge, $2,500 for this, why don't you test it? You can test it for free. You can test it for a lower cost than you normally would, but just be completely transparent, right? Be completely transparent with the people on the other end, saying, like, I've done this before in this capacity. I haven't necessarily tried it in this capacity. And, so I am doing a beta test of this. These are the results that you should get from this. And in return, I want your feedback. That has helped me a lot, being the perfectionist. Again, just always wanting to make sure I deliver on whatever I promise to my client. So that has helped boosted my confidence a lot. And it helps boost my clients' confidence a lot, because they know by the time they're ready to sell it, they already know the results that it can get for people. Like, they feel really confident in that.
Right.
And then the congruency side, that's more in which I know you can totally relate to, because you're all about authentic confidence. But that's more about alignment, right?
Right.
Making sure that you feel like whatever it is that you're offering, that you feel in alignment with. So a lot of people talk about, poll your audience, do validation calls, which I'm a big fan of, and, sell people what they want. But what people miss sometimes is like, there's a sweet spot of what clients want and what you also want to deliver to them, right? So that you actually feel aligned with what it is that you're putting out in the marketplace. So that's why I say it's like, you have to have the certainty that you can get the results, the congruency, so that you're aligned and excited about your product. And then on the sales conversations, I mean, you'll be totally confident because you know it's going to deliver on what you're promising.
Right. I really love that idea that you said, about even doing the beta test, because even doing the beta test, offering it for a little bit less in the beginning will help build your confidence, and it gives you a little room to feel comfortable if it isn't perfect. People it's the beta test, so there's going to be tweaks and stuff. So I really think that's a great way when you're first launching out, or you're launching a new program that you're still not clear, is this meeting the needs of the clients, and really invite those people to give you feedback as you go through the process. And I want to go back to something that you said, because this was a hot topic with me and my girlfriends the other day. And that was throwing out the past. Because this was something I was saying how, frustrates me. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, certifications. And it's like, in this realm of coaching, it feels like, and this would be a good question for you as a sales and marketing person, it feels like people don't care that you have the degree. And I love that you opened up that you have, you have a bachelor's and your master's in marketing, sales and marketing. You opened up with that, but it's like beyond the bio, nobody cares about all they care about is how much money are you going to make? And there's like, in this particular realm, there's no value, it feels like, to your education, like in corporate. So how do you, a person who's highly credentialed like myself, how do you bring that past in so that it helps you? Because I think your education differentiates you from the person who just says, I'm going to just, I did some sales and marketing for a company for 2 years and now I'm a coach. So can you speak to that? Because it frustrates the crap out of me.
Oh, yes.
I think it's a distinguisher.
Yep. No, and I'm so happy that you bring this up. I am so happy that you asked this question, because
I told you Laura was going to work, girl, today.
I know. Oh my goodness. Because yes, like you, that's something that I struggled with when I came to the online space. I mean, I hear even a lot of people who are at the multi-7-figure level now talking about, they talk about how when they first came into the online industry, they didn't want to talk about all their achievements that they had outside because of the same thing. But then they realized, just like I did, after a while, that it is a differentiator. So I talk about when it comes to sales and marketing, it's specifically as a part of your sales process and the whole, when you get to the stage of converting more, leads or prospects into clients, brand credibility. So that's where this kind of falls under this whole idea of, like the achievements that you've had, before you've kind of pivoted into whatever new direction you're going into, and your experience and your education, that kind of falls under this umbrella of brand credibility, because as you know, and it is important, and I get what you're saying when you say like it feels like no one cares, but when it comes to differentiating yourself from the marketplace, it's a huge factor, because we do operate in this unregulated coaching industry where, I mean, you and I would say, I think we all see it where, and no offense to anyone, but or it might be someone, and I'm only using business as an example because that's the industry that I'm in, but where you'll have someone who just barely, they just barely launch, let's say, I'm just going to try to use something like, let's say a relationship coach business. If, they just barely launched a relationship coaching business, haven't really had a lot of success yet. They went through an online marketing program where they learned this tool set and are implementing into their business. Maybe they've gotten some traction, maybe they aren't, but then 6 months later, they're a business coach, so they're making these swift transitions. And we have a lot of that happening. So what's happening now is people are looking for those credibility markers or credibility indicators that kind of fall under that brand credibility. Like, what makes, how do I tell the difference between this person who just decided to do this 6 months ago versus this other person who seems like they know what they're talking about, but okay, yeah, they have an education in this, they have a background and experience in this, and yeah, the results matter too. People want to know what results you're getting, but a lot of people can say those results. So what are the other things that really help me see you as an authority and, as the go-to expert in this? And to me, that's where, your education and, that experience that you had comes into play. I know that I look for that when I'm looking for people that I want to work with. And I noticed once I've started and once my clients have started like infusing that in their sales process, because I have them do it a lot of different ways, throughout the sales process, it increases the conversion rates like, 10%,
You guys hear that? It increases conversion rates. Okay, I needed to hear that. Okay.
Yeah, it does matter. The market is so oversaturated. People want to know who is the real deal, who is the real deal, right? And so I used to not mention that I had an MBA, because to me it was just like you said, I'm like, I don't know that it really matters. But once
nobody ever asked you when you're working in a corporate job, they want to know this kind of stuff. But when I can tell you every single client I have ever worked with, they never say, "Oh, are you certified?" They never ask any questions, because I'm going to be the person that asks you, "Where are you certified from, girl? What's your going to be? How much money can you make?"
Yeah,
just like I've been through so many coaches who claim, "Oh, girl, I'm going to help you, double your income or create 10K a month." And they don't follow through, and then you've invested all this money. So I think it's not just buying into the hype. So like you're saying is, are you qualified? And let me ask you, because I know women will struggle with this. How do you handle the client who says, "Well, I don't want to feel like I'm bragging"?
Oh, why do you were just asking the best questions.
I know, girl.
I know. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I mean, this is one that's really close to my heart, just because I did a Facebook Live. My word for 2019, it was it's brave. And you can't, normally I have my sign in the background, but I think it's cut off in this frame. But I have it right behind me every single day. And part of that, like I had kind of three components of that. But one aspect of that being brave was all about giving myself permission to pat myself on the back. Because like I said, I wouldn't really talk about my credibility indicators, but those are the things that people need to know. And the reason why a lot of us struggle with this, I think one, women, right? Whereas men, they'll say whatever, and it's confidence,
Mhm.
but with women, we do tend to feel like we're bragging. But then not only just women, but I also say even as Christian women, we really, really struggle with this.
Lord
Because we're taught to be humble, and we feel like if we talk about our accomplishments, we're not being humble, right?
Mhm.
And so that's something that, again, I had to really pray about, and I had to really really pump myself up about and understand that there is a difference between bragging and just bragging for the sake of bragging, but really communicating your value so that you can make a bigger impact and difference in this world, right? So, I mean, really, sometimes you just have to have a talk with yourself, but understand that people need to know your strengths and your capabilities, and again, what I call your credibility indicators, because if they don't, how are they going to work? How are they going to know if you're the person to solve their problem? And if people don't know that you're the person to solve their problem, then you're not going to be able to serve the people that you're meant to serve and make that impact in the world. So I just said, I have to give myself permission to pat myself on the back, because I know, excuse me, I know that it's something that has to be shared in order for me to make the impact that I have to make. We got to get over ourselves.
Right. Because here's what I know is that, Sharell, we were not born to be in the shadows. We were all called to be a light and to own our spotlight, because if people don't know these distinguishers, then guess what, sister? You blend in when you were born to stand out.
Yep.
And so your education combined with your experience is what helps you to stand out. It's what helps your light to shine so bright. Being who you are, owning who you were uniquely created to be. Ephesians 2:10 says you were born to be a masterpiece. You are God's masterpiece. And it's mandated that you show up and that you own that. Own who you are. And so that's what's going to give you confidence. The more you know yourself, you're able to step in. And when you have like Sharell shared here, I really love this formula that you gave us: certainty, congruency. So when you have that certainness, that certainty that, you know what, I know I can make a difference in XYZ, for whoever. And it is aligned. You're aligned with that. Your belief is so strong with that equates to confidence. That's a really great formula. CCC.
Yep.
C plus C equals C.
Yep.
Okay? I love that. And and I love how you said, I love this. I'm gonna use this. Your credibility indicators. And what I think of that, women can do is create a little board, if you have to, of credibility indicators, or a notebook. Every time you do something that affirms who you are, write it down, put a post up, keep it in front of you. So when you have those moments of self-doubt, that negative voice comes in, you can go and look, girl, what are you talking about? You have a master's degree. Girl, what are you talking about? Do you see what this customer just wrote about you? Girl. And then you can slap yourself back into reality and boom, show up and shine like the star you were meant to be.
Amen.
Well, it has been amazing having you on today. You have given us so many great nuggets. Let me ask you, where can the ladies connect with you?
Sure. So 2 places I'm really active. Facebook, my Facebook page is just Sharell Weeams Live. And then on LinkedIn, just look me up on Sharell Weeams. I would love to connect with you and to send me a connection request, or like my page if it's on Facebook, or shoot me a message. I mean, I'd love to connect.
Yeah, and then if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments. If you're watching, you've been watching the replay, make sure you put in the comments #replay. Let us know what you took away today. And for those of you who are struggling with confidence, or you think, girl, I'm confident, I don't need you, girl. I want to invite you to join me June 27th at 6 p.m. for my upcoming webinar called 5 Ways Confidence is Sabotaging Your Business. 5 ways confidence is sabotaging your business. I'm going to put the link in the feed so you can register for that webinar, and it's going to be 6 p.m. Central Standard, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. West Coast. Is that right? West Coast. Yeah. 3 hours behind. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah. Is that right?
6 p.m. Central?
Yes.
4 p.m. Pacific.
4 p.m. Pacific. 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay, thank you. I needed a little backup on that. So I'm going to put the link down below. I'd love to have you on. And even if you can't show up live, register. So potentially you'll get the replay. But I'd love to have you on there live, because then you'll be able to ask me questions on the training. So we look forward to seeing you. Thank you for tuning in. And Sharell, once again, thank you so much for being my guest today. You really gave us a lot of valuable nuggets.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and tune in next week. I don't know who my guest is going to be yet, but I'm sure she will be fabulous. Have a good one, everyone.